Oh, are we going back in?
So do we want to go get Goron Buddy or fucking Falco?
Falco. Let's go. Well, welcome back to On the Branch.
Okay, guess we're going to get in Falco.
Yep, that is Falco. It is no longer Ain't Falco.
It's not Ain't Falco?
Yeah, that ain't Falco. That is not your episode title. That better not be the episode title.
Why not? Why can't it be the episode?
I don't even want to see that in the suggestions.
You know damn well it's going to be in the suggestions.
Behind the scenes curtain peek, this episode is being recorded the night before it goes up. So I'm going to see this in a Discord conversation with Amarith, where she suggests that as one of the 4 possible episode titles.
Falco.
God damn it, Amarith.
And it's usually not 4, it's up to like 7 to 8, depending.
Oh my gosh, did you know that the Rito lived on the 10th Frontier? I certainly didn't know that from that game I played, that I definitely would not be playing this game if I hadn't already played.
I mean, some people don't.
Really?
There's fucking weirdos out there that are like, I'm going to start on game 3.
I mean, I guess if you really like the first Hyrule Warriors, but if you don't like open world games, maybe, or if you just like the Dynasty Warriors games and you play every Dynasty Warriors game, including the Gundam knockoff. Well, I say Gundam knockoffs are made by the same company, right?
Yeah.
The Gundam ones are made by the same people, aren't they?
Capcom?
Does Capcom make Dynasty Warriors?
I
don't know. Let's look this up. What's the name of the Gundam ones?
Gundam Dynasty Warriors?
Is that what it's called? That's not what it's called. Hang on.
It has been...
we could just Google Gundam Dynasty Warriors and we'll find out.
Holy shit, it has been about 20 years since I have played a Gundam Dynasty Warriors game.
Are they that old?
Over at Enix's house.
It has not been 20 years.
Early high school.
Those games are that old? I didn't know those games existed until...
It was on, like, GameCube.
I didn't know those games existed until I saw Enix playing them on the PS3 or PS4 era.
There was one on GameCube, I'm fairly certain.
Wow. There's a lot of polygons to push out onto the GameCube. It makes sense. The Dynasty Warrior games started in that era.
I mean...
The PS2 era.
They're robots. What polygons do you need to load? They can be blocky and look good, that's the point.
Koei Tecmo makes Dynasty Warriors. Okay, and they make this game.
I'm dark and brooding. My name is Falco.
I mean, it makes sense that we're talking about Falco and Enix at the same time, right? Bird Boys.
Bird Boys.
Okay, let's see. What's the...
Oh god, we gotta fight the Ritos.
Oh, it's literally Dynasty Warriors : Gundam, and the first one is from 2007, so it's PS3 era. PS3, Xbox 360. But yeah, it was Dynasty Warriors Gundam, so that exists before this. So, there you go. Now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know. You know what I would like to know?
What would you like to know? I
would like to know what the fuck happened in Texas, I guess last month now. Welcome to current events, and you know, if you're watching this far in, you're probably okay with a little bit of light. Wait, are we fighting the Rito?
Yeah.
Why are we fighting Rito?
Because I don't know, Rivali's being an asshole, and we're like, you gotta shove a sword up his ass to make him pay attention to us or something like.
Amarith. Shove a sword up his cloaca. He's a birdman.
Oh right, I'm sorry. I didn't get my bird anatomy correct.
But yeah, speaking of snow in February, the fuck happened in Texas? And by the fuck happened in Texas, I have a lot of broad questions for people that maybe live in that region. So now is definitely an engagement time. If you've ever lived in that part of the country,
in Texas?
I need stuff explained to me because I don't understand how the crisis in February happened. Because at this point, it's almost a month old, right?
Well, John, it got cold, and then they were like, oh fuck, we don't know how to deal with cold because we only know how to deal with hot because...
Right, no, I get that. I get, like, you know, in Las Vegas, when it snows, we just shut the roads down. We don't have snow plows, we don't have snow salts, we just shut the roads down until the snow melts the next day. I get that. It makes perfect sense. And I get that Texas, they only have one of these snowstorms every 10 years. So I get that they're generally unprepared. I get the politics of, no, they should have just put some freaking insulating, you know, some pipe insulation on the gas lines that caused the power plants to go down. But that was intentional, right? Like that was deliberate. I don't know how much you know about the politics of it. But Texas, for starters, has a completely independent power grid. They literally severed all of the power lines. So, okay, apparently Imp is helping us out. They severed all the power lines to other states so that they could deregulate past the national, like the federal regulations. This is John not quite fully understanding the situation.
This would be
this would be John explains, except I'm sober. So, but yeah, my understanding is that I do know that they're separate from the grid. I don't know if they're physically separate or just
wait, John.
Yeah.
Are you saying that they are off the grid?
Yeah. Yes, they are the Lone Star State. They are the Lone Grid State, and. One, their power plants were designed intentionally to not handle the situation. Two, part of what I don't understand is why is everything electric heat in a state that's so big on fossil fuels, on natural gas, on oil heating? Gas and oil are cheap in this state.
Because it's all about selling it.
Is it? Well, and I wonder, is just cold so rare that they just don't put gas furnaces in houses because it's just...
Why would
gets cold enough to run the heater so rarely that it's not worth the down payment on the furnace versus the cheaper to install electric heaters that are much more expensive to run. That's my only guess as to what's going on, because like here in Vegas, nobody has, and granted, a lot of our houses are newer, but nobody in Las Vegas, and it's in an area that's way less gas equipped or about as gas equipped, as gas able. Everything is a gas furnace in Las Vegas. And I get the impression our weather is the same. I could be wrong. Maybe Texas does get colder in general than Vegas does. But then that's even more of a reason why don't you have gas?
Yeah.
Or that's
like
question one.
Backup.
Yeah, question one is why don't you guys have gas heat? And question two is why don't you guys have blankets? I understand it, and not to sound too callous, I understand that when there's a huge snowstorm, some old people are going to die from exposure. They're not going to get to shelter in time. They're not going to find a relative. They're not going to have access to the resources, especially during the middle of a pandemic where it's, everything else has been going on. But do you just not have heavy blankets? Like, if it hits 0 degrees outside in Las Vegas and we have a power outage, everyone in this house would survive. We would cuddle together on a bed, if we had no gas. We'd cuddle together on a bed under some heavy blankets and ride it out, right? You'd put a coat on when you walk around the house. You know? And I guess I just don't understand what's going on in Texas. How is your house getting below 50 degrees? And
are you just opening the door like, nope, weather's not gone yet?
Yeah, like, how are you freezing? And I don't mean this in a mean way. I just literally don't understand, and so I need somebody to educate me, and I've been too lazy to look this up on the internet. This question has been answered 1,000 times, and I'm being an asshole asking this publicly on the internet when probably a Google search answers this. But yeah, it's a bit of a mystery to me how, and again, I don't mean to sound crass or
assholeish,
unsympathetic. It's a tragedy that people die, but that tragedy happens every time one of these weather events hits, no matter how well prepared people are, right? Like, it happens in the back east when these snowstorms hit, right? So I guess I just don't understand. I get that they were underprepared, and they were intentionally unprepared from the power company's standpoint, because the power company, basically, it's pure supply and demand on a thing that's, it's like medicine, right? They just kept raising the rates over and over. Because I didn't get to the most galling part. The things that the power companies did were just insane, and that's a huge part of why people died, and that's part of what I'm mad at. That's who bears the most responsibility. All these people only had electric heat, and you decided to ration electricity to kill people because they made billions of dollars in profit over a couple of weeks. Do you know how much they were charging for electricity? I found this statistic. $9 a kilowatt hour.
I have no idea how much
wholesale. That is. Okay, in this town, we pay. I don't remember. I haven't looked at our power bill recently, but it's somewhere between 10 and 15 cents a kilowatt hour. They're charging 100 times the going rate. Normally, wholesale electricity is about 4 cents a kilowatt. It's 2 to 4 cents a kilowatt hour, depending on where you're at.
Hello? Can I have...
So they're charging over 100 times what it costs to produce that electricity. And just making profit off of it because supply and demand. People are dying, but supply and demand.
It's like when the gas goes up to $4 a gallon when there's crazy rain and
it's more blood for the gods of capitalism. And again, they were specifically cut off from the grid so that there could not be more supply to alleviate this one. And two, this was deliberately set up by regulators, and it's part of the whole how can you live in a state that does this? My brother moved to Texas, and I don't get it. I haven't had a talk with him about this, but I'm going to have to call him and ask him and say, you knew Texas politics were like this before you moved there.
Why did you do
you decided to move into this state, right? Where this is what they do. This is how they feel about the people. And don't get me wrong, we had, Mayor Carolyn Goodman that said, hey, let's use the people of Las Vegas as guinea pigs and see what just letting everyone get infected does and see what happens. So I get, like, we don't have the best politicians here either, but yeah, it just blows me away that someone would voluntarily decide to move to a place that so callously doesn't care about your life that your own politicians say, well,
yeah, fuck you.
This guy gave $20,000 to my campaign to deregulate his industry so he could make billions of dollars during the next crisis over people dying. That's more important to me than the lives of my fellow human beings.
That vote for me?
Yeah. Well, just my fellow human beings, period. Like, that should be enough. It shouldn't have to be the vote for me.
It shouldn't have to be caveated, but...
Yeah. Like, you shouldn't have to. I mean, obviously, that makes it even more dumb. It makes it, like, where's your self-interest even? But, I mean, these people don't think long-term. This is the same mindset of the people who think in the boardrooms of what's our short-term quarterly profit, right? If it doesn't affect if I don't get my return on investment in the next 3 months, then I don't care.
Then why do I care?
Yeah. I mean, it's that mentality. And I mean, I have worked in those companies. I remember working in a business where we would, because it was a small enough hotel back when I worked at the Westgate, we would bring them ideas and say, hey, this would pay itself off. And they said, what's the return on investment time? And if it was more than a year, the answer was always no, 100% of the time. It didn't matter if it was going to pay itself off triple in 5 years. They didn't care. And that's how our politicians run some of our states, including Texas. And yeah, I just don't understand. But yeah, if someone can explain to me how, like, why nobody has gas heat, why everyone uses electric heat. I get why you would use and maybe it's just maybe the houses are even newer on average, and they're all using what's called a heat pump. Do you know what a heat pump is?
Nope.
Basically, there's a valve on your air conditioner, the outdoor unit, that reverses everything. And you're basically running your air conditioner. You're using the outside as an air conditioner, and you're expelling you're pumping heat from outside to inside instead of from inside to outside. Your air conditioner pumps heat normally from inside to outside. You're just basically running your air conditioner in reverse. Yeah. And when it's warm outside, when I say warm, when it's 40 degrees outside, that makes a lot of sense because it doesn't take a whole lot to pump some of that heat inside.
Right.
When it's 0 degrees outside, it's not worth it.
It's
you
different.
need to just make heat. Don't try to steal it. You're squeezing it from a stone. But yeah, again, this was weeks ago at this point that this is going up. But yeah, it's a huge tragedy. We didn't talk about it because there was nothing to bring up. But yeah, I just don't understand. Again, my grandma grew up in a farmhouse in rural Idaho where it routinely got to -20 for days at a time.
And their house wasn't sealed.
And this was before electricity. Yeah, and their house wasn't sealed, and they all survived. Oh, some brutal conditions. Granted, they were younger and healthier, presumably. Well, there are a lot of Rito. This is more than the entire Rito population of all of Hyrule. I don't understand where these are all coming from. Is this a fever dream?
Well, one, it's Dynasty Warriors, and two...
Yeah, but also, why are we killing...
The way that I always imagined this... hang on.
Is we're genociding the Rito people?
No. One sec. Is that... Damn it. I didn't want to hit that.
That was definitely the wrong button. You sure taught that air, though.
The way that I always imagined it, though, was like... In the Zelda game...
They have bomb arrows. Pro tip.
Fuck your shit.
Yeah. Just tear him up for
counter his ass.
With you. Yeah.
That's what you get.
Into the cutscene attack. Just take out the whole camp. Okay. Thing you were complaining about.
Hang on. I have to Mifa adjust.
Have to adjust to the completely new combat style.
Was that all the towns and stuff in like Legend of Zelda, like and all that, were always just like what's that word? It's like condensed, like you're not seeing the whole thing. Like this is only a portion of what it actually
you're
is.
seeing a representation of what the actual village and the actual city are.
Yeah, it would be like...
You're kind of seeing a representation.
Yeah, like if you saw, like if you made a little model like Las Vegas or something, it would just be this tiny like little like thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's the video game version of that city.
It's like you wouldn't show every single tiny little side. In
real life, Hateno Village has 5,000 people, not 50.
Yeah.
Okay. So in real life, Rito Village has 1,000 Rito and some outlying settlements, and it's just like real life. They just don't show... Okay, and see, I always just assumed they were going for a more rural lifestyle, a more medieval lifestyle, where people weren't just clustered together and towns were more separated, and that's how towns were back then.
Well, because, I mean, you have to think about it, too. It's like, look at these towns, it's like, how do these people make money? Like, Link goes around fucking slams pots against the wall, but like...
Oh, like, how do these people have economies? How do these people build forges? How do they have well, we are living in a post-apocalypse.
farms that you don't even see, like, how do they even make enough food to support even the few people that you see?
Okay, that's fair. How are there enough farms for everyone?
Yeah.
There's magic in the world, so you could
I mean, there's
that.
fucking, like, Lon Lon Ranch, but it's like, that's a ranch that's being run by, like, 2 people.
You could argue that maybe they have some kind of way of magically catching more fish, magically hunting more food, because it is a magical world.
But where is it? Because I don't see any fields where they're growing this fucking, like, wheat.
Yeah, maybe there's a lot of hunting and gathering.
Like, you see my point,
You never see anyone go out and hunt and gather either, though, huh?
It's condensed.
All right,
like,
well, maybe we'll solve the economic mysteries of both Texas and Hyrule next time on The Branch.
Yeah.